Sorry, it's a little windy out here today, and we're on the side of the road. Today is February 23rd, 2021. It is 1:30 p.m. and I want to show you a little bit of stuff. Right now we are in front of the Russellville Elementary School, and we're talking about trees and power lines and topping trees and why topping is bad. As most of you all know, I am an arborist, and I do own a local tree care company here in Hamblin County. But this has a lot to do with also utility lines, power lines. Where's that money going? A lot of it that you are paying for on your utility bills, for your electricity, okay? So I want you to see these trees over here. And this is a school. They paid somebody to do this to all of their trees, every one of them, okay? I don't want nobody to take my word for anything. I want you to Google it yourself. Just Google tree topping and see what comes up. I'm not even going to tell you a website to go to because they all say the same thing. We are the only local company that does not top trees. I refuse to top them. I'll do a restoration pruning on them if it's something that can be saved. But once you've topped a tree, you've ruined it forever. Its genetic way of growth is out the window. So if a tree is only supposed to get, let's say, 20 foot in height and you top it, it'll no longer stay at 20 foot. It's going to grow and grow and grow, and it grows back fast. So these were done about 3 years ago. And if you look, you could see, I'm going to go ahead and I'll cross the road here in a minute. But you could see how even though they paid somebody to come out here and do these, and these were not done by the utility company, and in front of a school, all these kids now think that topping is the right thing to do. Their parents think topping is the right thing to do, okay? Because they're seeing it here at the school. Biggest misconception is, look at how fast and how dense the tree grows back. It must be healthy. It's the exact opposite. You've took off too many leaves, you've stressed the tree out. So you can see how it's still in the bottom lines, okay? Those are just cables. Your upper lines are your power. So whoever came out here and cut these, that was hired to cut these, they didn't do anything on the side of the utility lines. They just kind of left that. You got to do a full job. You can't just do a half job. I mean, they're horrible. So we're going to leave here. I'm going to pause this, and we're going to drive around to a couple of different locations. And I don't have anybody else with me today, so I can't hold the camera and drive on a public street. But we are going to go and check out. Look, you see how some of it just dies back like that? It's because it's a nub cut. If anybody's ever split any kind of firewood, cut any kind of wood, and you cut it and you come back the next day, and it already has a split in it, that's because it's drying out. Wood has never been succumb to air. It's always small or inside of bark, even when it's real small. So let's go ahead and I can cross. We're going to go ahead and get on out of here. I'm going to pause this. I will unpause it when we get to the next segment, and we will start talking. I'll give you a little bit more information. All right, so we're at another location. And look at this tree. This tree was probably topped out at the end of last year. And you can see these were probably done at the beginning of last year. And you can see how much growth there is. You can already see how dense they were prior to even being cut, right? So a quarter of that interior branch should have all been removed to reduce the density of it, because everywhere that you cut is going to grow back rapidly. Here's another one. You can see how it's dying in the center over there already. There's a lot of dead, a lot of rot. Trees will sunburn and they will rot. You can see this one over here. Look at all the dead in that. Some of that is from just this year dying out. Some of it is from years past that should have been removed but wasn't. You can see cavities in there. So when you get somebody, call one of these other companies out here, this is what they do. This is the type of work that they're going to do. They're going to do whatever you ask them to do. They're going to take your money, because no matter what type of tree that it is, unless it's a pine tree or something that's in that kind of a range of a tree, this is what you're going to get back. Look at all this growth, okay? This is from a couple of years. I'd say this is probably 3, maybe 4 years worth of growth. I don't care if you take off 40 feet from a tree. You will get that 40 feet back 3 times the density within 3 to 5 years span. That's if the tree survives, okay? So let's go take a look at some other ones. I'm gonna pause this. We'll look at some other stuff, and we'll get into some power lines. I don't have any like in particular places that I'm going or anything like that. I'm just kind of was driving down the street and I saw this, and so I pulled on in here. So let's see what else we find. All right, so here are these trees here. You can see this rot where it was cut before, okay, and how it just rotted into the tree. So now that whole section over there is compromised. So anything above that section is compromised, and that's going to continue to rot on out. It's getting up towards where the power lines are because it's growing back so rapidly. So I want you all to look at these trees, okay? Take a look at them. You see how they're all growing kind of straight on up. They're all growing for the sun. You see how much little growth is growing back? This is probably only a year or so worth of cutting. Here, I want to show you this. This right here is what I was telling you about the sunburn. Right there. If you could see that little groove on the top of that branch, that's from the sun hitting it, drying out the bark, cracking the bark. You got more right there. Got a cavity right there. These trees should have been removed, because all you're doing is throwing your money away, and you're going to have to continue to have it done every 3 to 5 years just to keep it in shape, because what happens is you cut off too much foliage, it has to grow back real fast. Then it gets more foliage and denser than it was before, so the roots start growing. Then you cut it back again, and now the roots can support a bigger growth canopy, and it grows back faster. Let's get out of here and we'll check out another one that I saw down the street. So look at these Bradford pear trees. That looks like there was that's 1 year worth of growth. So it was either cut not this winter, last winter, a year ago, or at the beginning of spring. And you can see how dense it's grown back, how much growth has came back, and you can see where it was cut originally. You see where it was big, and now they're small. Try to focus on it. But you can see that. So those trees will have to be done every 2 or 3 years, otherwise they're going to split out. Now the more foliage, the faster they grow in girth, and the more splitting problems that you have. This is the one I wanted to show you. I wanted to show you one down the street. Let's go check that. All right, so and as you can see over in here, look how big the pieces were before they were cut. And now they're getting up into the utility lines. So this is where the waste comes from as far as utility, right? The utility company comes around every 3 to 5 years and continues to cut down or sections of trees instead of removing them and planting something else in its place. So what happens is each branch that grows back, a true branch grows when it's microscopic from the tip. It splits or it continues to grow in one dominant branch. But when you top it and you cut it, you have dormant buds that are just on the bottom side of the bark, under the bark, and those are the ones that end up sprouting when you stress out the tree, when a tree gets stressed out. So you get back very, very weak. They're not even branches. They're called water sprouts. Suckers grow from the bottom of the tree. Water sprouts grow from the top. They are not branches. They're poorly attached. That means the next person that comes out there and works on it has a hazardous tree that they're working on. And you got limbs and stuff that are falling all over your yard because of the density. You can't get enough sunlight. You got poor penetration. So this wastes utility money. Okay, so it's not just your money if you have a private tree that you cut and you have to get done very often, but the utility companies come out and they do the same type of work and it costs us money. So your utility bills are high because of this. Okay, there's states that don't allow this to happen. We're gonna go ahead and get on out of here. We're gonna end this and gotta get on over to a meeting. Please give this a thumbs up. Hey, if you need any tree care work, you can go ahead and get a hold of me at lakewayaudits@gmail.com. I will leave your phone number there. I will respond back to that just so that I don't get a bunch of miscellaneous phone calls or emails on my business line or my business email. Leave your comment below whether or not you think you've got a tree that has been topped that's now hazardous from the utility company. They have a program. They'll come out, they will cut that tree down, and they will plant a new tree for you. Something that's not going to grow big. See, that's 1 year's worth of growth right there. 1 year. 1 year's worth of growth. Look how dense that is. It's ridiculous. Well, thank you for watching. Please subscribe.